Today, we're diving into something called emotional intelligence. But to really get it, we need to start with a feeling, a really powerful, really human experience that I know you've had. Just think about it for a second. That moment where you snapped, or said something you immediately wished you could take back. Or maybe you just froze up, completely overwhelmed. What is actually going on inside our brains when that happens?
Well, that feeling, it actually has a name. It's called an emotional hijack, and it's a core part of what makes us human.
The more technical term is an amygdala hijack. See, your amygdala is this tiny almond-shaped part of your brain that acts like a threat detector. It's where your fight, flight, or freeze response comes from. And during a hijack, it doesn't just nudge you, it completely takes the steering wheel, shoving your rational brain into the back seat. It's basically a total brain coup.
Here's a perfect example. Imagine you're walking in the woods and you see a coiled up shape on the path. You leap back instantly, right? Your heart's pounding, and only a second later does your thinking brain catch up and go, oh, wait, it's just a stick. That's the hijack in action. It's an ancient survival system that is built for speed, not accuracy. And that system was absolutely brilliant for helping our ancestors survive. But here's the thing, it creates a huge problem in our modern world. You could say we're running ancient software on some very, very modern hardware.
And here's why that's a problem. Our amygdala, our ancient alarm system, it can't tell the difference between a tiger about to pounce and some harsh feedback from your boss. An argument with your partner or a big presentation can trigger the exact same life or death panic response. It's a massive evolutionary mismatch.
So here's how it goes down step by step. First, you perceive a threat, and it doesn't even have to be real. Your amygdala immediately commandeers your brain. Then it floods your entire system with stress hormones like adrenaline. And boom, your body is primed to fight, run away, or just freeze on the spot. Now that is a genius system for escaping a predator, but it is a terrible system for navigating a tense meeting at work.
So, if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, we have to upgrade our software. And that software update has a name: emotional intelligence. It's the skill set we need to manage this ancient and sometimes faulty alarm system.
And let's be clear, emotional intelligence, or EI, isn't some vague, fluffy concept. It is a concrete, learnable set of skills. This means anyone, absolutely anyone, can get better at it. It's really about learning how to be smart with your feelings.
So why does this matter so much? Well, check this out. According to some really groundbreaking research popularized by Daniel Goleman, your IQ, the traditional measure of intelligence, it only accounts for about 20% of your success in life. Just 20%. The other 80%, that comes down to things like self-awareness, empathy, resilience, in other words, emotional intelligence. And the stakes for developing this skill are unbelievably high. Let's just look at how EI directly impacts two of the most critical parts of our lives, our relationships and our careers. The research here is just fascinating. A major study on couples found this really stark difference. When both people in a relationship had low EI, things were just rough. Constant conflict, low satisfaction. But here is the incredible part. If just one of them had high EI, it completely changed the dynamic. They handled disagreements better, they were happier. That one person's skill basically acted like a shock absorber for the whole relationship. And you see the exact same thing at work. High EI isn't just a nice-to-have skill. It leads to real, measurable results. People with high EI are better leaders. They build stronger teams. You see way less conflict. And they even get better results with customers. It's become a totally essential skill for success in the modern workplace. Okay, so how do we actually get better at this? How do we stop those emotional hijacks in their tracks? Well, the first step is to look inward, at the stories we tell ourselves, especially when things go wrong. The starting line is recognizing something called cognitive distortions. Now, that sounds complicated, but think of them as bugs in your mental software. They're these automatic, negative thought patterns that our brain loves to run during a hijack. And in the moment, they feel 100% true, but they're distorting reality. You know this one. You make one small mistake on a project and your brain immediately jumps to, that's it, I'm definitely getting fired. That's catastrophizing. You're taking a tiny piece of negative information and spinning it into an absolute disaster movie. Or how about this one? You're on a diet, you eat one cookie, and your brain says, well, you've blown it, might as well eat the whole box. That's all or nothing thinking. There's no gray area. If it's not perfect, it's a total failure.
And a third big one is personalization. Your team's project gets delayed, and your immediate thought is, it's my fault. I'm not good enough. You make it all about you, completely ignoring all the other factors that could be at play. So, what do we do about this? How do we fight back? Okay, here is a 5-step toolkit. 1. Just notice it. Build awareness. When it happens, literally say in your head, oh, that's catastrophizing. 2. Challenge it with a reality check. Ask yourself, what's the actual evidence for this thought? 3. Dig a little deeper and ask, what's the negative core belief driving this? 4. Consciously create a more positive, balanced counterbelief. And 5, and this is crucial, identify one small action you can take that aligns with that new, healthier belief. All of this, every single tool and technique, it all boils down to one central, incredibly powerful idea. The goal isn't to never feel angry or sad or scared. The goal is to create a moment of choice.
This idea is captured perfectly in this quote from psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. The stimulus is what happens to you. The response is what you do. The entire purpose of building emotional intelligence is to find and widen that little space. Because in that pause, that's where your power is. That's where you take control back from the hijack. That is where you get to choose your response. And in that choice, you find your growth and your freedom.